For you to get a tender, lazima ukuwe unajua mtu kwa gava. For you to get a job, lazima ukuwe unajua mtu kwa gava.
Huduma hizi ambazo serikali imekuwa ikijivunia kwamba imekuwa ikifanya, je, ni nani anaifaidika na miradi kama hii?
Ni wao tu, na watoto wao, na familia zao, na wale ambao wanawajua, the people who are willing to give them kickbacks. Unaona venye Mbadi anakuja hapa anatuambia hakuna pesa, ndio maana petition ina delay. Arrest DIG Lagat, prosecute DIG Lagat, and that will be the beginning of ending police brutality in Kenya.
Naam, mtazamaji wa Sauti TV, karibu kwenye awamu nyingine ya Views Room ambapo tunazungumzia masuala ya kisiasa, masuala ya uongozi na mustakabali wa nchi kwa ujumla. Leo hii studioni tunayo fursa ya kuwa na mmoja wa wanaharakati nchini Kenya, almaarufu Sophie Mugure, ambaye pia ni katibu mkuu wa The Revolutionary Gen Z Movement. Pia Sophie ni incoming MCA pale Thika Town Wardship. Karibu sana Sophie.
Asante.
Labda unaweza tutambulisha kwa kiufupi The Gen Z Revolutionary Movement ni nini kwa ambao wanaotutazama kwa sasa?
Kikundi cha The Revolutionary Gen Z Movement kilizaliwa kutokana na yale maandamano ambayo tumekuwa tukifanya kutoka mwaka wa 2024. Tulikuja pamoja kama vijana tukaambiana, kwa nini unatokea peke yako na mimi natokea peke yangu? Umoja ni nguvu, tujiunge, tutengeneze kikundi ambacho kitatusaidia kuleta numbers ambazo tuko nazo kama mayouth pamoja, na hapo ndio tulitengeneza The Revolutionary Gen Z Movement. Tuliita Gen Z Movement ili tusisahau yale mapinduzi ambayo tumeweza kuleta katika nchi hii, na ili tusiwasahau wale ambao wamekufa katika zile vuguvugu ambazo tumekuwa tukiendeleza kutoka mwaka uliopita. Kama Revolutionary Gen Z Movement, we are a political movement, which means we want to capture political power. So kazi yetu si kelele peke yake, ni tunaweka mikakati vile ambavyo tutachukua uongozi wa nchi hii na vile ambavyo tutaleta maendeleo kwa wananchi wa Kenya. Mimi ndio katibu mkuu, lakini si yuko peke yangu, tuko na kikundi cha viongozi, tuko na National Governing Council. Tunafanya mambo tofauti, political education, civic engagement. Kama sasa hivi kikundi chetu kiko Homa Bay, tunafanya kitu ambacho tunaita the long walk for justice. Tunatembea kutoka Homa Bay mpaka Nairobi. Tulianza tarehe 25 na tunapanga kumalizia kwa majaliwa ya Mwenyezi Mungu tarehe 20 Mashujadi, ambapo tutafika Nairobi na tutaweza kuwakumbuka wale ambao tumepoteza katika harakati hizi za kupigania Kenya mpya. Ndio.
Na Bi Sophie, labda mtazamaji anaweza kuwa anajiuliza ni nini hasa kilichochea wewe kujiunga ama kujihusisha na kikundi kama hiki? Maana tukiangalia masuala ya vijana hapa nchini, the youth accumulate to around 75% of the Kenyan population. So what really motivated you to join this kind of movement, seeing that in the recent times vijana wamekuwa kirushiwa mawe hapa na pale na viongozi wale katika serikali kuu ya Kenya? What actually motivated you to do so?
You see, when the Kenya Kwanza government came into power, I knew, and I remember I tweeted on that day and I said, we as Kenyans, we've sold our birthright. Like, just like that, we've sold it out. So what is motivating me? There's so much opulence and wastage of public funds, yet Kenyans are going through the hardest of times that we have ever experienced. Mimi ni Mkenya, naishi Kenya, nimesoma, sina kazi ambayo inapelekana na yale masomo ambayo niko nayo. Mimi ni mzazi, ninalipa shule. Mimi ni mtoto wa mzazi ambaye anazidi kuzeeka. yani yale mambo ambayo yanaendelea katika nchi hii, the priorities are upside down. So nilikaa chini nikajiuliza, mtoto wangu akona around 10 to 15 years ili awe mtu mzima kama mimi, anze kujitafutia. Nikajiuliza, nikinyamaza, nikiendelea tu kukuwa spectator, mtoto wangu atakuwa apate nchi inayokaaje? Kwa hivyo nikaamua nitatumia sauti yangu, kwa sababu mimi sio muoga. Nitatumia sauti yangu, nitajieka in the line of duty, ili siku ambayo mtoto wangu atakuwa mkubwa ataniuliza, mom, what did you do to make Kenya a better country? Nitamuonyesha, nitamwambia nilikuwa naandamana, nimewahi shikwa na polisi, nimewahi kuwa kwa police station kwa sababu ya kuandamana, nimetembea from Homa Bay to Nairobi for seeking for justice. Yani I will have something to tell my children about my position. Na pia ukiangalia historia, kuna wanawake ambao wamesaidia sana katika kujenga nchi hii. Wangare Maathai, Martha Karua. Kwa hivyo nikiwaangalia najiuliza tofauti yangu na wao ni nini, kwa sababu walianza wakiwa wasichana wadogo kama mimi. Kwa hivyo nikiangalia zile vitu ambazo waliweza kufanya na kuwa motivated, naona nikianza sasa hivi I can contribute to bringing positive change, because right now we are enjoying freedoms that Wangare Maathai fought for. She was beaten. She was alone. Right now we're enjoying a new constitution, something that someone like Martha Karua fought for. So what now will be my role? What are the freedoms that the generations that come after me will enjoy, courtesy of my courage and courtesy of my participation in political matters?
There's been so much going on in the political atmosphere, in the ruling government, in the so-called opposition government. We've seen leaders like the likes of Martha Karua. We've seen the ex-DP Rigathi Gachagua. We've seen Kalonzo coming up in preparations for the 2027 elections. What's your take on the current political atmosphere in relation to that?
Number one, I think our priorities are a bit upside down, because when someone comes to Kenya today, they would think elections are tomorrow, because all we're having a conversation about is 2027. Hatujui hata kama tutakuwa alive by then. So number one, I'm quite disappointed that we're not talking about matters of health, matters of education, matters of digital inclusion, matters of research. We're not even talking about Vision 2030, considering we're on medium term plan 4, and Vision 2030 goes all the way until medium term plan 5. So I'm wondering, what really are our priorities? Number one, I am anti-government, and of course that is in the public domain. But let's talk about the people who are mandated to be in the opposition of this country. Number one, they cannot tell us that their hands are tied, because some of the parties in that opposition, they have members in parliament who are able to push for reforms, who are able to push for budgetary allocations. But we are not seeing that. The concentration we are seeing them talking about is 2027. For instance, Wiper Party has a number of members of parliament, a number of senators, a number of MCAs. What is that party doing to push for reforms for Kenyans, for instance? Right now, okay, let's even take the agenda of elections. We're not hearing anybody talking about election reforms. We're in a digital age. We're not seeing a party coming out to say, these are our proposed election reforms, for example. We're in the digital era of social media. We're not seeing people push for us being allowed to take lives during the electioneering period, to be able at least to push for the elections to be fair, verifiable. You see, so even the priorities of those who are in the opposition, who are purporting to keep the government in check, we're not seeing that. We're not seeing them standing in solidarity with the people. All they're doing is putting out press statements and holding rallies. You would think elections is tomorrow. but there are underlying issues that are really affecting the common mwananchi. For instance, you go to a hospital today, hakuna dawa. But in those areas, there are members of parliament from these people's parties, and we're not seeing them going to the ground and actually helping the people to push. Let's talk about someone you've mentioned, Martha. Martha is a senior counsel, right? If you check the Constitution of Kenya and the wordings of the Constitution, it gives the court an upper hand to help the people to keep the government in check.
Yeah.
But we're not having conversations of how can we implement this constitution to ensure that the court gives the people the strength to actually oversight the government and to ensure the government is moving in the right direction. All we're seeing is press statements and releases, but we're not seeing something tangible that Kenyans can actually relate to, can actually attach to, and so that they can actually say, we have the support of the people. What they're doing is waiting for the tail end and approaching campaign time. Ndo wakuja watuambie, oh, we have the tools and the capacity to make Kenya a better place. But in your right now, the influence that you have as a political leader, you're not using that to bring substantial change to the people. And that is what is forcing us now as young people to come out on the streets to say, okay, what other power does the Constitution accord us for us to be able to fight for a better nation? Let's talk about something like Article 43. Article 43 allows us to have good standards of environment, the highest possible standards of education, the highest possible standards of health. Do you know, actually under Article 43, it says that the court should summon the government. Unaona venye Mbadi anakuja hapa anatuambia hakuna pesa ndio maana capitation ina delay. But what does the Constitution say? It says that the court should hold the government accountable, that they should substantiate those claims, that we don't have money because of this and this. But we're seeing this government spending 10 billion in a day to do what? They're spending 10 billion to campaign. But you see, if these people were able to hold the court accountable, that the court can push the government to substantiate their claims that they don't have money for education, they don't have money for health, you see, tungekuwa somewhere. Lakini sahi, it's hot air, just all talk and nothing substantial to the common mwananchi. So I feel like they hold no weight, in my opinion. All they have over us, wameishi more life than us. That's the only thing they have over us.
Speaking of the underlying issues that are facing Kenya as a nation, that are facing the youth in Kenya, we've seen the president of Kenya trying to address these issues, something that has been noticeable. You've seen that. He's created jobs. While he was coming into power, he came with a bottom-up, the bottom-up economy. He said the better transformative agenda. Amejaribu even kufanya miradi here and there. And even as we are approaching the 2027 elections, the KK government can proudly say that it has done something for the Kenyan society. What's your take on that?
Number one, KK government has completely misrepresented the people of Kenya. They have not done anything for the people of Kenya. And when I say the KK government, I'm not only talking about the president. I'm talking about the members of parliament, and I'm talking about the members of county assemblies. What has this government done? This government has monopolized government services. It has enabled cartels. It has turned Kenya into a bandit economy where money and resources and opportunities revolve around a particular set and group of people. So when that happens, you see how government is supposed to work. Government is supposed to provide services to the people. And then government should tender the opportunity to the citizens for the citizens to offer services to themselves. And that's how there is flow of money from the government to the citizens. But now what has this government done? that for you to get a tender, lazima ukuwe unajua mtu kwa gava. For you to get a job, lazima ukuwe unajua mtu kwa gava. For you to get the most basic of services, you have to know somebody. So in my opinion, the jobs that the president brags about ni kazi za mjengo. Mimi sitaki kufanya kazi ya mjengo. Mimi sikusomea construction. Mimi sio fundi. Sitaki kufanya kazi kwa mjengo. And what we're trying to say as young people, particularly because we are the largest, you see, Kenya has a median age of 19. Do you know what that means? Countries like Germany have a median age of 60, 70 years old. Kenya has a median age of 19. We have a young population who are willing to work, who have the energy, who have the time, who have the brain matter to actually put in things that help the economy to grow. This country, instead of giving us tax breaks, instead of allowing our entrepreneurial culture to come out as young people, in fact, they're stifling that. Where am I supposed to get, let's say my parent gives me 50,000 today to start a business. Of that 50,000, 30,000 shillings will go into paying my licenses and legitimizing my business to the government. Now back in a 20K. That money is supposed to pay rent. It's supposed to get the business running, restock. In short, this government has completely taken us back. Let us talk about the milestones that Vision 2030 has achieved for Kenya. Free education was brought to Kenya by the Moi Kibaki government within 100 days of them being in the administration. What is this government doing? They're actually defunding the education sector. We're seeing lecturers on strike. But what has the government done? They have captured student leaders in the name of the daughter of the president, Ruto, so that the students cannot have an uprising, they cannot defend the institutions, and now we are seeing universities go down. Do you know, in the budget allocation of this year, 2025, education was a bit defunded, and now 8+ national universities in Kenya are in a debt of over 83 billion shillings. But we are seeing our government waste money. So instead of channeling this money in the right direction, they're actually using the money that is supposed to push our future forward to benefit themselves. So many kaulizwa, by the way, I do not see anything this government has done for the people of Kenya. And I will say the only thing I have seen ni magari na mapikipiki za mapolisi. Hao ndio wamepata the biggest amount of help from this government. And why were they doing that? Because we were protesting, so they were finding a way to stifle our dissent. I actually, on the case of opposition, they should be pushing for things like budget reallocation, because if you allocate 472 billion to the security sector and you allocate less than that to the education sector, sawa, maandamano imetulia. Si basi you reallocate that amount of money to other places where the money is needed. Universities need less than 90 billion to come back on their feet. Lakini nyinyi mnakula tu pesa. Tukiwaangalia hivi ni nini substantial? Ruto alisema within 30 days ataleta state inquiry on state capture and police brutality in Kenya. Have you ever seen anything like that? No. Ruto alisema there will never be bodies found floating around. What have we seen? More than 200 people have died in less than 2 years. Like, it's like an oxymoron. It's the complete opposite of what he says. That guy is such a liar.
Ruto umesema Bi Sophie ni mwongo. Je, huduma hizi ambazo serikali imekuwa ikijivunia kwamba imekuwa ikifanya, je, ni nani anaifaidika na miradi kama hii? Ikiwa si vijana, ikiwa si Gen Z, ikiwa si yule mwananchi wa pale mashinani kabisa, ni nani anafaidika katika miradi ya kiserikali?
Ni wao tu, na watoto wao, na familia zao, na wale ambao wanawajua, the people who are willing to give them kickbacks. Let me give you an example. The county government of Nairobi last year procured a number of trucks in the name of garbage collection. What is the state of cleanliness of Nairobi today? It's like mumenunua trucks za kuokota takataka, lakini hapa tu nje kila mahali Nairobi imekuwa dumping site kwa sababu takataka hayokotwi.
Lakini si tumeona pale Governor Sakaja ameweka dustbins pale, kwa ukitembea pale CBD unaona dustbins. Tumeona pia mkuu wa afya jijini Nairobi Bwana Mosoira amekuwa akipeleka rounds zake hapa na pale akijaribu kuhakikisha kwamba masuala ya environment hapa jijini yako sawa. Hilo si jambo.
Unajua ukifanya kazi sio lazima uniambie unafanya kazi, mimi nitajionea. Kwa hivyo kama umeweka dustbins, tuseme hapa mahali tuko, what is the first dustbin you're going to see within a proximity of 100 meters? Mimi kama Mkenya, Wakenya naturally tuko na tabia mbaya, tunamwaga taka ovyo ovyo. Lakini ukikuja ulize Mkenya, kwa sababu mimi uliza mtu, mbona umetupa hiyo kitu hapa? Nkuza, unaona dustbin hapa? Haya, tembea CBD, sawa kuna dustbin. How often is that dustbin emptied? Unakuta hiyo dustbin imejaa hadi juu. Unajiuliza hizi takataka ni za leo kweli? Like, we do not see that in some of the counties. Like, other counties are clean. So the people who are naturally benefiting from this government is those people, number one, who enabled this government to get into power, those who are in power, and their friends. For example, there was a dam that was supposed to be built. Sawa, the tender was passed a few years ago. Lakini instead of this government jumping on that opportunity and pushing for that dam to be built, because that dam was helping in electrification, food security, and compiling clean water for people to drink in that area. Lakini sai wamechange hiyo tender, inapeanwa kwa mtu mwenye wao wanajua. Look at something like Adani. Look at something like Shah. If you go down to the bottom of what Shah is about, angalia wenye Shah sahi. Siku kona jina ya bibi ya David Ndi kwa one of the companies that own Shah. Who is David Ndi? Isn't he the chief government advisor on the economy? So who are benefiting? Angalia Charlene Ruto, yeye ni mtoto wa president, lakini wakienda kwa hizo vitu za UN na hizo vitu za climate, yeye anaekwa hapo. She owns Smash, something that pushes the sijui agriculture, sijui smart farming. Lakini nani anaekwa mbele? Watoto wa hawa watu. Juzi tumeona picha ya Ruto akiwa New York. Nani alikuwa amesimama nyuma yake? George Ruto. Mood inazunguka mood hata haina route. Mood inaenda route. Tukiamka leo tunasikia kwenda Thika, tunaenda Thika. Nani wana benefit really? Mimi kama Mkenya wa kawaida, I'm not seeing any benefit, to be very honest.
Unfinished projects in the KK government. There is an example of this stadium in Mombasa that has been long overdue since Joho akiwa kama governor. Akiingia actually kama governor, that is the Mombasa Municipal Stadium. Joho amemaliza, Abdul Somad Saye ameingia anamaliza his 5-year tenure. Bado that project is still stalling. Yet we've seen recent projects that zimekuwa zikiharakishwa. There is the Talanta Stadium ambayo itakuwa inashughulikia one of the ceremonies in the country very soon. We've seen also the government launching the Ithokwe Stadium in Kitui County. What are these unfinished projects? And don't you think that Ruto anafaa pewe nafasi nyingine? Yes, imebaki miaka miwili, lakini can't Kenyans give him another 5 years so that he can finish these stalling projects in the nation?
Tunampea another 5 years atuue. Tunampea another 5 years aseme tushutiwe, tutoke hapo twende hospitali, tukitoka hospitali twende kutini. Tunampea another 5 years ya kutumia the economy of Kenya to make himself a dynasty. No, but let me tell you where the trick is. You see, Sai Malituko all the way until 2026, Ruto will finish some of those projects. And he will use those projects to come back and tell you, mnaona nimeendelea ile kazi yenye mlinipea, kwa hivyo mnafaa kunipea, si tunasema ni 2 term ama si 2 term. Atatumia hizo projects. And let me push it to some of the accounts on Twitter. Now they're starting to tell us, so Ruto anafanya kazi, development inakuja, tupatieni another period of time tufanye kazi. But in their defense sahi, waliingia wakisema nini? Hawaendelezi hizo projects juu wamepata empty coffers. Hawana pesa, serikali yenye ilikuwa hapo before iliiba pesa zote. Haya, ukikuja kwa counties, watakwambia nini? Hiyo haikuwa project yangu. In fact, hata contractor alishalipwa pesa yote, ni yeye hakumaliza. So hatuna budget allocation for hiyo stadium imalizwe, lazima mgoje, we fight for it again. Like, Kenya is just a corrupt nation. Like, corruption imetuingia to the extent we cannot differentiate what is good and what is bad. So Kenyans are likely to be lured again in the name of let me mark you something. Salim Mvurya last week walikuwa na Ruto na huko side za Kilifi. Do you know what he told the people? Ati since independence hakuna president amewahi tuwekea lami. Huku Kilifi hatujawahi ona lami, lakini Ruto is the first president mwenye ametuletea lami Kilifi. Kwa hivyo mimi naona mumpatie term nyingine ndio tuongezewe lami huku Kilifi. But really, Salim Mvurya has held which position before? Akwe CS sai. He had the capacity to bring development to the people of Kilifi. But now he is boasting because anajua if Ruto is president, ako maftani, ako mahali anasikia joto. Do you see the mind games? Lakini now sisi kama young people, we have already realized that hiyo ndio game wanacheza. So what also us we are trying to do, tunaenda kwa ground kucounter hiyo narrative. Tutafika Kilifi na tutaambia watu wa Kilifi, sio Salim Mvurya alikuwa governor, kwa nini hakuwatengenezea? Like, we will keep countering the narrative until the last minute. Like, this time round we will not allow Kenyans to be lured. It's us against them. Poor people, haves and have-nots. That is the battle here. It is those who have and those who don't have. Kenyans against the political class. So we are willing to go to whatever extent to counter those narratives just to make sure Kenyans wasidanganywe.
Do you think that the movement that you're in, that is the current movement where you're the Secretary General, do you believe you have the capacity? Maana tuliona panapo last year, mulienda pale kwenye mitaa striking and protesting about the controversial finance bill, even went up to an extent ya kuingia mpaka parliament, lives were lost, lakini bado tuliona the nature of the regime never changed. Bado kiburi kilikuwa pale pale. Do you feel or do you think you have what it takes, and what can you do different that wasn't done at that particular time?
What do we have? We're impatient, we're emboldened, we're infuriated with our current conditions. We're experiencing very pathetic material conditions as Kenyans. And what unites people, it's our material conditions. If you go to Murang'a, if you go to Kitui, if you go to Turkana, if you go to Mandera, hakuna street lights, hakuna drainage, hakuna maji, hakuna kazi. So those things, our material conditions as Kenyans, is what will unite us. So sisi kama Gen Zs, we're already tired of the situation that we're in. But what do we need right now? We need another trigger point. We had a trigger point last year. That was the finance bill. That was not really necessarily why we were protesting. We were protesting poor governance. We were protesting corruption. We were protesting the use of and misrepresentation by those we have elected. We were protesting the utter slander of our constitution. That is what we were protesting. But we had a trigger point, which was the finance bill. So right now, it's just a matter of time until we get another trigger point. What I'm trying to tell you is we're in the middle of a revolution. And revolution si kitu ya siku moja. It's something that is pushing. You will hear people asking us, we are inexperienced, we are young, we don't know anything about politics, confused, planless. But it's been studied, it has been done. The recent Nepal revolution was done by students, young people in college and in high school, and they did not even need to have a leader for them to do what they did in Nepal. The revolution that was done in Serbia to bring down the Otpo revolution, it was done by students, it was done by young people, inexperienced people. But the common thing in all those revolutions is you're tired of your material conditions and you're tired of being a bystander. So as young people, what do we have? We have the resilience, we have the courage, the boldness, and really, we have nothing to lose. We're walking dead individuals out here. So really, we have nothing to lose. So that is what we're banking on. And we do not necessarily have to have finances to push politics. What we have is our knowledge, and we're willing to spread that like wildfire. So we will have these conversations. What do we have? We have the media. We have people like you who are willing to give us platforms to articulate these issues to fellow Kenyans. What do we have? We have goodwill. We have good intention. We have discipline. We're professional individuals. So we know we have the capacity to take government, to take political power, and to push this nation in the right direction. Because we're really a sleeping giant, if you ask me.
Shikilia hapo Bi Sophie. Mtazamaji inaweza chukua arafa 2-3 kutoka kwa watazamaji wetu. Kunaye mmoja ambaye anauliza kwa nini vijana wanasema wanataka nafasi lakini hawajitokezi kugombea? Swali lingine ni je, vijana wanapaswa kushirikiana na serikali au kuunda mfumo mbadala kabisa? Mtazamaji unaweza kuchangia kwenye mjadala huu kupitia nambari yetu ama kwa arafa fupi 0102482248 au unaweza kutembelea mitandao yetu ya kijamii Sauti TV. Na Bi Sophie, utakapojibu maswali haya ningependa pia kuongezea kwamba tuliona ya kwamba panapo last year tuliona kwamba kuna baadhi ya vijana ama kuna baadhi ya waliokuwa kwenye mstari mbele kuhakikisha kwamba haki inapatikana, vilio vya Wakenya vinasikika, hata wale waliofariki pale kwenye maandamano waliweza kufika majumbani. Tuliona baadhi ya vijana hao wakiweza kuhandshake serikali. Wapo wengine tumeona juzi walikuwa kwenye safari hapa na pale za kidemokrasia. What's not happening?
Spanner to the works. Haizi kwa ni sisi tuliwatuma waende huko waka research waone venye gava ina work. Anyway, that's a joke. You see, kila mtu ako na sababu zake kwa kujieka katika huu mrengo wa siasa. Mtu kama aliona hawezi shikilia, hawezi kuwa true to themselves, hawezi kuwa true to the cause. Because what it is a cause. It is a fight for better Kenya. So kama mtu ameona where your capacity is best, because ukiwauliza wanakwambia wameenda huko kuchange the system from inside. Kasmuel ameenda ODM kuchange ODM from the inside. Amechoka kukuwa noisemaker on the outside. So if you really don't know what you want, if you have an identity crisis, it is very easy to be pushed around. So huyo mtu mimi nikiuliza hako amejitambua, hiyo kitu ilimkuta tu, alipatikana tu na hiyo fame na hako anajua what to do with it. So he sold his fame to the highest bidder, which unfortunately kama angekaa hii pande yetu, he'd be very influential now. Do you know, mimi mama yangu alikuwa ameamini Morara hadi alikuwa amesema Morara akikuwa kwa ballot atamvotia. Do you know what that means? Yani kama haujatushika sisi peke yetu as young people, hadi wazazi wetu walikuwa wamekuaminia, and then you sell that to the highest bidder? That's so sad. So mimi nawahurumia tu kwa sababu they had nothing to offer us anyway. In line with the question about us putting ourselves out to take political positions, personally nataka kukuwa MCA wa Thika Township Ward. And I live in Thika. I am on the ground. I talk to my people. I experience the problems of the people in Thika and the issues that we have. I try to use the little influence that I have to try and bring positive change to the issues that people are facing right now in Thika. So, and there are very many of us, by the way, but our main strategy is to occupy parliament and to occupy county assemblies. Why is that? Because those are the most powerful positions. It's not even presidency. So we want positions of MP. We've seen people like Marvin Mabonga, who wants to be MP of Kimilili. Even in this current by-elections, we are seeing so many people, so many young people put themselves out there. So young people are there. Let's just say it's scary because the notion has been put out that ndio uingie kwa siasa lazima ukuwe na pesa. So I think that is what is scaring many young people from actually vying. Because sasa mtu atajiuliza, nitatoa wapi pesa ya kupeana ndio watu wanichague. So I think that is the thing that we're trying to show young people. See, imagine si lazima ukuwe na pesa. Do what you can right now and eventually you will win the people's trust. It doesn't have to be about the money. What is the second question?
Oh, actually hata umejibu zote. Okay, the other one was je, vijana wanapaswa kushirikiana na serikali au kuunda mfumo mbadala kabisa?
You see, politics is a game of numbers. Young people, we constitute 15 million of the entire 55 million. And that is 18 years and above. Na hatujahesabu wenye sahi wako form 3 na form 4 wenye by 2027 watakuwa 18 and above. So yes, we can do it on our own without joining those in government, without joining in those in the opposition. But then I will throw a spanner to the works. You want Ruto gone? I want Ruto gone. Eventually, our roads will meet somewhere. So I am not completely of the opinion that young people will not end up working with other older people who are progressive and who want a better country. Because let me tell you something, the term Gen Z, as we use it in the revolutionary Gen Z movement, it is not to mean young people. It is to mean a mindset of change, a mindset of progression, a mindset of wanting a work in Kenya. So unaweza kuko 70, unaweza kuko 60, unaweza kuko 80, but when it's Gen Z, courtesy of what is in between your brain, in between your ears, courtesy of what you want for this country. So yes, there will come a time where we will work with the older generation. And when I say older generation, I don't mean the old politicians. I mean the true older generation who have seen it all and who know the path that we need to take in order to win this fight. So we are open to having conversations with the people in the older generation. You know, they may think that as young people, we are sidelining ourselves and we just want to be the ones to bring change. No, it's all hands on deck for as long as your mindset is a mindset of change.
Mindset of change is what the young Kenyans want. And as we continue your conversation, young Kenyans, and with the movements that are upcoming, we've seen also that the political class, the political dynasties are still in place. Yani ni kama bado zile ngome zao ziko imara kabisa. Je, ni aina ipi ya uongozi ambao vijana hao wanataka? Na huu uongozi ambao wanataka, je, wataweza kutoshana na zile political dynasties ambazo ziko mahala nchini Kenya sahi? Because we have NLP, we have the DCP ya Gachagua, we have PLP ya Martha Karua, we have kina Okiya Mtata in place. Tusisahau bado the reigning president Ruto, Kindiki. Bado pia tusisahau that Raila and kina Sifuna and kina Babu Owino are still, you know, in control of everything. What is this kind of leadership will the youth do that will be different, ama that will allow them to blend in with these kingpins?
First of all, the idea is not to blend in. The idea is for us to show them the way, because all of them are lost. All of them do not know the roadmap to a good country and to a working nation. So number one agenda, this coming government that we are going to form, it will be the youth who are at the forefront leading, and all these people who we've mentioned, they're the ones to follow. Why? Because we have something they don't have. We have the numbers, they don't have the numbers. I will tell you, on June 25th this year, 2025, we brought out 27 counties out of the 47 counties in Kenya. How many counties do you need to win an election? How many counties do you need to kuko umetambuliwa kama political party? You need 24 counties. And we already have 27 counties. So we are way ahead of them in terms of numbers. In terms of, the only advantage they have of us, number one, for instance, I saw another survey hapo ilikuwa inasema DCP imegrow kukua the third biggest political party in Kenya.
Yeah, popular
party. But the party leader is idle. He doesn't have a job. The only thing he does is move around Kenya saying Kasongo must go. Hail to you, Kasongo must go. Lakini mimi niko job 8 to 5 na inanga job. How will I compete with Rigiji mwenye ako idle na ako na finances? Of course ataonekana ni kama ako na more political mileage than me. But what are we bringing to the table as young people? Number one, and that is the one thing that has been lacking, is true fidelity and commitment to the Constitution of Kenya. The vision, what are the Constitution itself? The vision that Kina Kibaki had when they were bringing us the 2010 Constitution of Kenya, just that vision, the commitment to that vision, that is what we have. Number two, professionalism. How we will run our government, we will run it in a very professional way. Number one, hakuna kuzurura huku ukienda ukiambia watu tutama hapa na unafaa kukua kwa ofisi ukitufanyia kazi.
Tumetenga
8 to 5 uko kwa ofisi where you can be found. In fact, we will, first orders of business is to work on the recall of MPs, is to work on punishment for corrupt leaders, is to work on punishment for those who have been corrupt before. In fact, we will even return the death penalty to those who are corrupt. Our government will be a government of discipline. Hakuna kuzurura ukitukana watu ovyo venye unajisikia. Hakuna kuvaa na kutalk mbele ya watu. You are a woman in government but you are told zunguka wakuone. Huyu ukilala na yeye hata unaweza kosa kuamka siku 3. Our government will not have anything like that. And most importantly, our government will be centered around the people. So for instance, mimi nataka kuwa MCA. I will be mandated to hold monthly, if not a fortnight, of town halls with my people. I will be mandated to be accessible, which means utakuwa unaishi where you serve. So kama wewe unasimama huko Kasipul, utakuwa unaishi Kasipul. Kama unasimama Kilifi, utakuwa unaishi Kilifi. So that you can be accessible to the people that you're actually doing what? You're serving. We will concentrate on improving the material conditions of Kenya. What does that mean? We will concentrate on bringing industries to our people on the ground. We will concentrate on kutengeneza barabara. Ndio kama uko Nyahururu ama Nyandarua na uko na waru, uko na maziwa, inaweza fika Nairobi kwa sababu barabara ni nzuri. We will concentrate on empowering our young people. Education, to make education free and accessible. We will concentrate on ensuring that every ward has a market, has a level 2 hospital, has an education place, and has a recreational society. Do you know where we go wrong as Kenyans? Our communities do not have social centers and recreational centers where people can go have conversations, unwind, learn, be exposed to the outside world. So ndio maana we are so backward. So that will be center stage of our government. Have you heard any of those people you've mentioned to me say anything like that? No. Them the only agenda ni tutaingia, sasa tukishaingia mtaona ile kazi yenye tutafanya. No. As we're doing issue-based politics. We are not noisemakers. We're talking about issues that will all of a sudden, and the end goal is to return the dignity of the citizens of Kenya, to restore our sovereignty, that hautapata situations where mtu anakanyanga flag yetu, anajipanguza in all the weird areas na flag yetu ya Kenya. Hawezi hata fikiria kufanya kitu kama hiyo, because Kenya will be sovereign and the people will be sovereign. Yeah.
Sophie, you've outlined that the KK government is broken. What is your advice, Ama? What can be your advice to the current president of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, if you were to have a sit down with him? What will be your message to him?
Kwanza ache kuzurura, akae chini. Do you know, if your mind is, if you don't actually sit down and think about your job, you cannot deliver. Ebu niambie, Ruto anakaanga chini Harambee House saa ngapi? Kama hayuko Mombasa, kama hayuko Dubai, kama hayuko New York, kama hayuko akuna. I wonder when does he access his entry? Si unajua kama mdosi unakuwa na entry. What time does he have to sit down and access that entry? So number one would be kwanza ukae chini, uendange kwa ofisi. For the next 2 years, jipe goal. Unaona venye tunajipeanga goals. Sitakunywa, stand out, I will be celibate. Jipe goal kama kaa kwa ofisi for the next 1 year and see what can be done. Number 2, begin by prosecuting all those people ulikuwa busy ukishout hapo ukisema wako corrupt. Throw them under the bus. All those people ulipea pesa, si uko na evidence. Sema ni nani ulipea pesa impeach Gachagua. Sema ni nani ulipea pesa pitishe Sha. Sema ni nani ulipea pesa kufanyia kazi. All those corrupt individuals. Number 3, arrest DIG Lagat. Prosecute DIG Lagat. And that will be the beginning of ending police brutality in Kenya. Arrest and prosecute Isaiah Muraguri who killed Rex. Isaiah Muraguri tunapatananga naye tao. Venye wetu tunaweza patana na we tao. Tunamjua na tujua na anatembea town. Anza na kuprosecute hao watu wote wenye wameshoot guns on young people. Anza na kurudi nyuma na kukuja mbele yetu kwa TV. The same way ulisema washutiwe kwa mguu, waende hospitali, waende kotini. Retract that statement in the presence of Kenyans. At least we will see that you have some form of political goodwill. Allocate funds in the correct places. You have the power. I don't even think Ruto knows he has the power to dissolve a county. Unajua, the president has the power according to the constitution to dissolve a county that is not working. Lakini the power that he is using ni allow Jubaland forces waende uko wa take over Mandera, and then they stand in front of us watuambie hakuna kitu kama hiyo. And Jubaland forces have proclaimed in public that they're actually in Kenya. So my advice to him would be, first of all, to read the constitution, to understand what sorts of powers and what mandates fall under his office, na afanye hizo vitu. Maybe anaweza endelea kudanganya watu that he is actually a credible president. Lakini kwa sahi, hata afanye nini, hata ende huko alete Jesus huku, watu amendu Jesus. One time ni one time, anaenda home. That one I can promise you. Kenyans are tired.
And lastly, what is your parting shot? What is your message? Because you're an aspiring, ward rep pale maeneo ya Thika. What will be your part shot in conclusion to this conversation of today?
Well, the most obvious and the most important, as young people, I plead with you and I beg you to come out in large numbers. Let us take our IDs. Let us register as voters. That is the one thing we have and they don't have. We have the numbers. So if, number one, we can come out on September 29th, and of course it's an ongoing process. It's not a one-off thing. So come out, take your ID, register as a voter. Number 2, even though we do not know who we are going to elect as president, at least we know who we will not elect as president. Tunajua hatutaki Ruto, na tunajua Ruto must go. Our clarion call as young people moving forward should not only be Ruto must go,
but it should be to put a commitment to vote out this entire regime. Ruto cannot be powerful on his own. He has an entire team of MPs and MCAs behind him. So that is number 2. Number 3 would be to document our history. I beg you, document this revolution. We cannot be in 10 places at once. So ukiwa uko Turkana, ukiwa uko Mandera, ukiwa uko Nairobi, wherever you are, and you're participating in changing this nation, document that, so that our children, as they grow up, they can understand the struggle, they can understand our contribution to the cause. I plead with you to join political parties and participate in the most, unajua elections is not the most important part. It is in the nomination. So participate in those nominations so that you're able to determine which candidate goes to the ballot. So please help us who are willing to come out and vie for these positions. Help us by participating in party primaries. Come out and choose us and give us the numbers so that we can be able to be present in the ballot. My appeal to the students in the universities: wake up. Revolutions are brought about by students, young people, and you have the numbers. Wake up, fight that Duale bill that is stifling your voice as a student in the university. Come out, bring the revolution inside those institutions and help us have the numbers to take this regime home. Gen Z is a mindset. It is not about age. And we're willing to do whatever it takes to bring change to this nation. What is our driving force? Our patriotism, our fidelity to the flag of Kenya. So love your country so much that you're willing to do anything, including coming out, protesting. Na protest hazijaisha, na msidanganywe protest zimeisha. We're just working hapa chini. We are organizing, but we will be back, bigger and better. And we might even do what Nepal did. We might even choose our president online and we put him inside there and have a nice transitional government. So kuna hope. Musi lose hope, my youth. My message especially is to you young people. Najua ni tough. Najua mmeka juu ya mawe. Najua mna hustle. Lakini msi give up. Na mkatae kutumika. Adui atakuja akikaa kama Mungu. Lakini tukatae kutumika. Let's take matters into our own hands. Let's have a ballot revolution. Let's take everybody in this regime home. We're 15 million strong. We got this. We can do this, guys. Ni tujiaminie tu kidogo.
Naam, mtazamaji, huu umekuwa wakati wetu. Mwanaharakati amenena na sauti ya vijana imesikika. Kenya ya kesho itajengwa na hawa vijana. Sauti ambayo inapazwa ndiyo itakaweza kusikika. Lakini swali kuu ni je, sauti hii itazidi kuwa imara? Sauti hii itazidi kupazwa ama itakuwa kama moshi usio na moto? Hadi wakati mwingine, nimekuwa wako Rahab Mora. Kwaheri.